Today's step for Friendship International box album is to teach you how to use signature black construction tape. You all got this in your kit, and Claire Cheville from Great Britain sells this. I have an open roll. It's acid free, it's tearable, and it can be torn or it can be cut. I have the pieces we're going to make for our lid. We already had a video on how to cut your mat board, and I showed you a basic layout for them. And now we're going to put black construction tape around the edges. And we already cut out our hole for our lid. This was the size of your lid, and then we already cut out a center hole. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of tape just about half on, half off of each piece. And fold it down. And we're going to cut off the excess. It does not have to be perfectly straight. It does not have to cover everything. We're just making a nice clean line around the edge of your box. And this will be covered with design paper. Up to 1/8 of an inch around the edge. And that's why you don't have to be, I think I'll put some glasses on here, perfectly straight. Now, because this is a lid, we're also going to put tape around the one outer edge. And I'm just going to sort of stand it up on the end. That one looks a little small. Let's see if I can do better. I think sometimes it works better cutting it than tearing it. Just rubbing the top edge here. And then I'm going to cut off at a little bit of an angle so that this tape will not roll when you're adhering your designer paper to it. If you start by pushing in the middle and pushing down, you'll have a nice even edge. And my point wasn't perfect, so I'll just take off that little bit of tape. You'll end up with a lot of little black pieces. Now remember, it has a right side, a smooth side, and a rough side. You want all of them to be facing the same direction. Now if it gets caught in itself, you can sort of straighten it out sometimes, and sometimes you can't. So if it gets too wrinkled, just discard it and try again. And I have a grid on my work surface in 1/4 inches. And since the tape is 1 inch thick, you can lay it down and get just about a perfect half on, half off if you lay it on a line. The other thing we're going to be doing with this construction tape is making hinges. And What's nice about it is it's so thin, it doesn't show under the paper. This time I'm going to try just a little different. I'm going to make, I have the right size together. I'm just making my point to begin with. See if I could do this a little neater. Now these points don't have to be exact. Like I said, only 1/8 of an inch shows later. So I start by bending down in the middle. And I still have a tail, so I'll cut the tail off or press it down. Okay. Another side. If you're using a gray mat board and not black mat board, you'd be very concerned about your corner pieces. Using the black, it doesn't show too much if you miss a little bit of the coverage. This stuff really is sticky, it sticks all over. A little short. I either make it too short or too long. I guess too long is a little better. Because you can cut off the extras. I do like folding it and getting at least one point started. Cutting at an angle. And then lifting up the corner and making another angle to the point. Doesn't have to be a perfect miter. It won't show. Okay, so I have my side, my lid side or end piece, which is same exact size as my frame. Then I have a spine. On the spine, I'm going to add that last, but we're going to put it on, half off for both edges. And then we're going to just line one side because the other one will have a hinge on it. When you use this tape and get used to it, it gets a little bit easier, but there's no speed required. You can do it, take as long as you want to get this stuff done. What's nice about it is once it's covered, you can immediately start decorating if you wanted to, because there's no paint drying or glue drying or anything like that. I think I'll still do a slant here. Now, let's see, the spine will be attached there. Okay, now we're going to do the inside. And I'm going to put, remember when I cut it, I had these little bit of extra stuff here. And I did not take a sandpaper. So I'm just going to clip off this little corner to smooth it out a little. Okay. I'm going to take just a little piece of tape and I'm going to put it at the corners. I want the inside of my frame nice and secure. It's going to be highlighting an acrylic pocket. And I want it to look nice and smooth. So I'm just taking a little bit of tape and putting it in each corner. And I think I'm going to do it on both sides. So it's at an angle in the corner, because when I cut with the trimmer, some extended into the cut, and I want to make sure that's adhered well. You might also remember I had made a cut too deep on one of these, and this tape has covered that cut so it won't show at all. It'll be firm. Okay, so this is 1 inch all around. And now I'm going to cut it at an angle again. Start in the corner. Now the inside is actually a little more awkward than the outside. This little frame. So just take your time and try to get it to the inside points. There we go. So now we're going to fold it around to the other side. Okay, let's do that on all 4 sides. If you want to take the time and measure it, you could cut this other side ahead of time by just folding it and trimming it. I find it's a little hard without it sticking to everything. There we go. Okay. So again, I'm just smoothing on one side and folding it to the back side. Wrong direction. hardly ever do it on the roll. That was a little more awkward. Cutting into the point. It's kind of important to get rid of the little pieces as you go. I tend to have trouble with that sometimes. Fold in the middle, fold it to the back. The last one, then we can put them together and make our hinges. I'll gladly take advice on how to get the corners better. Because I find it in the inside especially, it's hard to know how much to take off. Okay. And that one's got a little ripple in it. Let's see if I can just, yes, a little Teflon score tool here helps me straighten out any little bumps. Okay, now to make a hinge, we're going to start by doing an extra piece there. We're going to do the small side, which is exact same size. And I'm going to put it on the right side. This is smooth. Yes. I'm going to put the tape on the right side, half on, half off. I need to go all the way to the end. I'm using the grid on my paper on my desk pad to make it easier for my half on, half off. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to stand up, rough sides together, right beside the frame, upright. Then I'm going to drop it down, and there's a little bit of a gap. So you can see there's a little bit of gap between those. I'm going to trim off the edge, just straight. I think I am. And then I'm going to cover up this gap with another piece of tape. And this is a hinge. Now it's important that this piece of cardboard can stand up flat, sitting side by side with the frame. So, like that. So you can see it on the front a little bit, that this is a little piece standing right beside it. Now these ones, this one rather, I'll start with one at a time. Okay, rough side, but I'm going to put the tape on the smooth side. And I'm only going to the edge. I think I'll cut that a little bit at an angle. Put a half on, half off. cut that at an angle again. I said half on, half off. It looks like there's more on than off, so I'm going to try that again. And use my guides. That looks better. Okay. And I'm going to cut this at an angle. Here too. And I have some extra tape there. I'm going to deal with it in a minute. Now I'm on the rough side. I'm going to stand it up. But this time, I want it to go over that first piece of cardboard there. Hard to do this on camera. I'm going to stand this up, line it up, because this is a little bit bigger. Remember, our mat board is 2 millimeters, and we want it to be right even in the corner. So we want it to overlap just a little bit. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to drop it down onto the tape. Check it. Yep, it fits well. Okay, now I'm just going to burnish that a little bit. We still have that little bit of a groove between it that lets it sit up. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and put a tape covering that gap. Now the gap is important. Your box will not sit flat without your gap. Sometimes I go the wrong direction. It's supposed to go down like an arrow point. Going at the end. Half on, half off. Let's cut another arrow point down here. Making it look neat is important, but it's not the all in all because, like I said, it's going to be covered with your designer paper. But I like it a little closer than that. Okay, so now we have one of the sides, the end piece, and we have one more side piece. Smooth, let's see. Smooth, smooth. Okay. See, the smooth goes here. I'm going to tape it on the unsmooth. Let's start up here. Essentially, I'm making 2 sides of the box and then I'll join them. I always want to go crooked. So now I have it turned over. It's the wrong side. I want to match up my corners. Go right against the edge, standing flat on the table. I think I have too much overlap here. I only want 2 millimeters. There we go. gives you a gap. Smooth it out. And now cover that gap. I see a piece of hair. Okay, this is your lid. Be adding magnets to it soon. Okay, we have, this is the spine, just checking the size here. 6.5. Okay, it's correct. So let's add the spine. Now notice the spine is deeper than the lid. And that's because your box is deeper. It holds the whole album. So again, I put the tape on the correct side. For me, that's the smooth side. Now you can write on the black. It's going to be covered, but I don't like to. I like to keep it in case I write in the wrong place. It's kind of hard to cover it up. I don't know if you saw that, but I didn't clean off my scissors and I actually cut it in the wrong direction, but I'm going to leave it because there'll be more tape supporting it. Okay, rough side, it's the exact same size, so you can stand it up, drop it down, turn it, burnish it a little. And I will put another piece of tape on top of the groove. And my fingers are actually getting sticky. I have these little black pieces everywhere. Okay, that is our lid. I love it. Okay, after you have your lid done, you're going to do the same thing all over again to the bottom of the box, to the base of the box. Now, unlike a regular box, the sides are not attached. If you wanted to make a box, you could make just a regular lid and have a floppy box and put a regular album inside. But this base is going to be your album. So we have a base end, and two base sides, and they're all measured out. So I will whip through this in another little video, but it's the exact same principle that you've done on this cover. So if you want, you can just keep going and make your base. When we're done the base, we're then going to make a special hinge here to connect it all. So I will accent that special hinge, but what we're doing so far is exactly the same. We're going to cover the small sides of all of them, and then one long side I'm going to have to do, yep, one long side. So that's it for now. Go at your own pace. I sort of try to rush these through a little bit, and I think that's why I make mistakes with my tape. So take your time and make your box. Have a great day. God bless.